T-Mobile 5G internet keeps getting better. Boost your connection to harder-to-reach places with Home Internet Plus and get internet right where you want it.
With Wi-Fi that reaches the attic, I finally have a home office.
Get a free upgrade to T-Mobile Home Internet Plus while supplies last. Home Internet Plus starts at $50 a month with autopay and any voice line. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
During congestion, customers on this plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using greater than 1.2 terabytes per month due to data prioritization. After $20 bill credit plus $5 per month without autopay. Debit bank account required. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies.
Since 2013, Bombas has donated over 100 million socks, underwear, and T-shirts to those facing homelessness. If we counted those on air, this ad would last over 1,157 days. But if we counted the time it takes to make a donation possible, it would take just a few clicks. Because every time you make a purchase, Bombas donates an item to someone who needs it.
Go to bombas.com/Wondery and use code Wondery for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/Wondery, code Wondery.
Listeners, this week in pop culture has been a clown car. I'm looking at the list of stories we're about to talk about, and they range from bizarre to what the fuck. I don't know what time in history we're living in, but everyone's losing their minds.
You know, like when the magician has like the scarf and it's like tied to another scarf and they pull it out and it just keeps going. Like that's what I felt like this whole week. Is like, oh, and then Diddy this and Diddy that, and then this person died, and then a lot of some of the it's never stopping.
It's not. Let's kick it right off. This story is a few days old, but new to us at FFP. But Lana Del Rey actually married this person that we thought was just an improv actor pretending to be an alligator wrangler. They're husband and wife, and he's actually an alligator wrangler. And we await Lana Del Rey's first interview for her to clear up why she's so kooky. But congratulations to the happy couple.
Why? And like her dad like walked her down the aisle.
This was a real wedding.
This was like a real wedding. It wasn't like her doing it as a joke or just being like, let's get married because we're both high.
This is not her pretending to be a waitress at Waffle House. No. This is not. And as you'd mentioned earlier, she denied.
She's denied that they were dating, and then they got married. This woman is a menace.
I read she's a menace to her fans because we just don't know what to think. Like one day she's doing improv and pretending that she's a celebrity. The next day she is one and she's marrying America's Steve Irwin. I don't even know what's happening here.
Meanwhile, there's like helicopter footage of her wedding. I was like, what on earth is happening?
So the greatest thing is New York Post interviewed this guy's ex, and she was like, he's a great guy and I'm happy for him, but we were engaged for 12 years and he never married me.
Well, miss, your name is not Lana Del Rey.
Right.
So.
You're not a multi-millionaires pop star. Those engagements move a little bit quicker than whatever I'm sure you're doing, which is probably noble, but you're not Lana Del Rey. Congrats to the happy couple. I look forward to an interview hearing all the details about why did you say you weren't marrying this guy and then you married him. And like there's reports of like
you can't believe anyone anymore.
You know, especially when it comes to Lana Del Lunatic. You know what I mean? Like there's not there. There will be 11 more stories about this. Or in a year, we're going to hear that it was fake and she was just filming a music video and that they're not married.
And then or it's like Tiger King, but for like crocodiles. Like we're going to go to their home one day, like an Architectural Digest, like open doors. And it's going to be like their bed is going to be like, like a lagoon with like
Lana Del Rey will be the chimp crazy alligator lady.
Yes.
Wow. Now that's great performance art. Like if that's the case, I will.
I love it. She'd bring me to her side, honestly.
By the way, can we also reference that you're doing the Pre-Fixe this week from an actual closet? Chris DeRosa, I never thought I'd say this. Back in the closet. Where are you?
I am in Texas, moving Hassan's sister in. And so the only sound room to do it is her walk-in closet. And so I've closed the door and here I am amongst her clothing.
Well, I'm here to report that she loves dry cleaning and has no wire hangers in that closet. So kudos.
No wire hangers.
A lot of fun shelving.
Yeah.
A lot of fun shelving. What a good brother-in-law you are, Christopher.
I know.
Down there. You really are.
I know. Thank you. Oh, wait. Speaking of, we were in a Home Goods because she's like buying all new stuff. Like we shipped as much as we could. And then she's like, I'll just like get a bunch of stuff down there. So we're like in a Home Goods walking around. And it's like, first of all, I haven't been in a Home Goods in years. The people that go to Home Goods, you are menaces. Can I just say that? You are menaces.
In what way?
And, like, it is just like complete and utter chaos in there. And it's like, here's this like random blanket that like has this. And then here's all these candles. Then here's like, oh, do you need an organizer? It's just like, it's chaos.
So and it's just you're saying Home Goods is unorganized, basically.
Completely beyond that. And at one point, Hassan just turned around to me and he goes, this place is a menace.
It is. Fun fact, this week's episode sponsored by Home Goods. Let's move on to Sean P. Shitty Combs. Look, at this point, there must be entire podcasts and networks devoted to following every story that is coming out about this. But I've chosen some isolated ones for us to react to here, not the least of which is, as we're recording the Pre-Fixe, I get a notice from, is it The Hollywood Reporter, the Los Angeles Times, that he is accused of sexual abuse and exploitation by more than 100 people planning a class action lawsuit. This is hot off the presses for this. Yeah. So like, this is a nightmare. You know who the number one hip hop stars in the country are going to be after all of this nonsense is over? Dominick Pupa and Chris DeRosa. This is a mess. Like, it's an absolute mess.
Dominick, we're going to be talking about this for years. Like,
I'm annoyed by that.
We're not even at the tip of the iceberg yet, is the thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people are going to be coming out of the woodwork because he's been famous my whole life.
Sure.
Like, he's been a powerful mogul for my entire life.
Sure.
Right?
No, this is it's funny because before this happened, you think of like the most powerful people in entertainment. And sure, I knew that he was a mogul, but in my head, he wasn't really up there in that high of the list. But the more this story goes on, it's like, everyone in Hollywood, it seems like, was somehow connected to him or went to one of his parties or he produced one of their songs or sucked someone's dick under the piano in one of his late night hours. Like, it's just like he's connected to literally everybody.
Did you see that I don't know if this is real or not, but apparently LeBron James was like, I'm not going to comment on this until I find out what information becomes public knowledge.
Wow. I bet he's one of hundreds of celebrities who are saying that. Here are some of the isolated, ridiculous stories that came out this week. Family Matters star Reginald VelJohnson. Yes, Mr. Winslow from Family Matters.
Who's currently on Dancing with the Stars.
On Dancing with the Stars. Had to issue a statement denying that he'd ever had sex with Sean P. Diddy Combs, saying, quote, I don't know that man. Leave Reginald VelJohnson alone, for God's sakes. Why does he have to get dragged into this?
It's terrible.
You know, when I was the executive producer of Long Island Medium, we had Reginald VelJohnson on. Teresa read him. And when I tell you that, you know, sometimes when people, they have souls that are so gentle, you think there might be something wrong with them. Yes. That's how gentle this person was. Like, there's no way that Carl Winslow had sex with Diddy. This is getting out of control. All the stories are getting out of control. The best story of the week is that Kesha changed the lyrics in her song Waking Up Like P. Diddy to something like
Wake up in the morning like fuck P. Diddy.
Fuck P. Diddy instead of feeling like P. Diddy. So good for you, Kesha. Definitely in her hero era. Diddy does have some supporters. There is one celebrity who's come out and said, you know, sex is healthy and the parties were fun.
Uh-oh.
That person is Kendra Wilkinson.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I am completely serious. So of all the people to come forth and just say, it's okay, this bitch. Like, okay, sure.
Oh God, that's beautiful.
The list of celebrities.
Yeah, because Kendra's like, my entire life I've been like at sex parties every day.
She doesn't know. She thinks the mall is a sex party or the sex party is a mall. I'm not sure what joke I'm telling there. If you go online,
I'm like actually dying. Oh my God.
Everyone's concerned about Justin Bieber because They feel like every bad mood he's ever been in public is a result of having spent part of his childhood at Diddy parties.
There's all this footage of him like filming music videos and he's like laying on the ground like crying.
Yeah.
No, it's like really bad.
That's going to be one of the actual stories that sticks
like,
through all the nonsense here, where it's just like there might be an actual, there have been many ones over the years, but there might be actual reckoning about how child stars are treated, because even there's footage coming forward with Justin, not at Diddy parties, not just the way that he's treated by other celebrities when he was a kid. Uncomfortable moments with like Jenny McCarthy trying to make out with him at the MTV Movie Awards, or James Corden talking about how beautiful he is. And he's like, I'm 16. Why
he's
are you
like, I'm a child. Yeah.
Right. In a lighter hearted story, you may recall last week, Diddy's lawyer said that the reason that there were 2 tons of baby oil bottles at the properties was because Costco made a mistake. I wish that this was a joke. Costco releases a statement.
Like, no, we didn't.
Saying that he bought baby oil somewhere else because we don't sell the baby oil that was taken from the house.
Slam. So, it's so good.
When Costco has to weigh in on the Diddy controversy, this is taking over the world. Like, what are we doing here?
No, and they're like, we don't want anything to do with this.
No,
they were like,
Costco will probably stop selling cooking oil to back away from this asshole. They're probably done.
No, he's going down, like going down. I was listening to a podcast that was basically breaking down all of the one. Her name is Emily Baker. I'm sure the listeners know her. She's a lawyer that like, she was there in the courtroom and was like writing down notes and like explained everything. And she like goes through all of the like the prosecution and then the defense's like statements after the arraignment or whatever it was. And his lawyer is like, Diddy's going to fight. He's going to fight and he's going to fight. And he keeps saying he's like, maintains his innocence. He's not guilty. He's going to fight. And she just goes, isn't that not the word that you should be saying when every person in this country watched a video of you beat the shit out of your girlfriend in a hotel room? I mean, he's done for.
Well, you'll remember that Diddy's ex, the beloved Kim Porter, passed away a couple of years ago. Now, singer Al B. Sure wants an investigation open because he doesn't think that Kim Porter died of natural causes. Apparently, this is something he's actually been saying for years and no one was paying attention, but now everyone is paying attention. So,
no, Dominic, I think
we'll throw a murder rap onto the fire, I guess. This is fucking nuts.
No, but I just think that there's things, and again, allegedly, and like I'm just going off my intuition and no real facts. I think there's things that are going to be uncovered from this case that like, I think Hollywood is going to like break down. Like, I think it's really like Me Too is nothing compared to what we're about to go through, I think.
On a lighter note, or is it a lighter note? There is going to be a definitive Barbra Streisand documentary. Now, Barbra Streisand is 80 years old. If it takes as long to make this documentary as it did to write the book, we will be dead before the documentary is released.
Our children will never see it.
I am hoping truly this documentary is so long that it needs to be its own network and that all they do is show every day 1 hour of Barbara's life in the past 80 years. She's very excited about it. She released a statement. She said she's got this treasure trove of shit that no one's ever seen before, and this is the place to show it. There's a producer hired. They've all released statements. There's no timetable for this because Barbara is a perfectionist. So the book was 948 pages long. Let's see how long the documentary is. By the way, the producer is not Ken Burns. So this might be something that's less than 2 weeks in length, but we will see. We will see.
I mean, again, whenever you sent this link to this article in our group chat, I said there will be 3 intermissions.
There has to be. There has to be. And I'm fine with that. Like,
no, same.
I'll binge a documentary series about Barbra Streisand. Yeah. I will not go to a theater and leave after 2 hours and come back like Avengers Endgame to watch everything post-Yentl in Barbara's life. Have you listened to the new Lady Gaga album?
I have.
What is the Chris DeRosa review?
It's fine. Again, I think I'm right about like, remember whenever she's like, we would just rip up the script and like do anything. She's like, cuckoo bananas. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love her to death. I'm a little monster from day one.
Sure.
But like, she's cuckoo bananas. And I also think that maybe, I wonder if they were like, you're going to sing all this music on the thing. You're going to sing all this music in the movie. And then they did away with that. And she's like, well, I already did all of it. So like, let me just like do, like, she shouldn't be in a movie if she doesn't also have like a single that she releases like in the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that should be what happens, much like A Star Is Born, which was like her biggest song ever was Shallow. So the album is fine. It's very much, I saw a meme that was like a Trojan horse and it's like the Harlequin album. And then in the belly of the Trojan horse was like the 2 albums that she did with, what's his name? What is his name?
Who?
Tony Bennett.
Oh my God.
Like you thought it was going to be LG7 and really it's like another, because that's like what it is. It's her being, and this is what I like about her is that she can
this is not, we should be clear, it's not LG7.
It's
nor
not.
does it sound, I mean, I listen to it, I don't hear a single on there. I don't. It just feels
she only
like
has one.
Here's
like
a movie and here's a
yeah.
coaster for you to put your drink on while you're watching the movie. Like it's not terrible, but it felt filler to me.
I think she did it because she wanted to, and then she's like, "I'll just release this, whatever."
Yeah,
you know, but
which is okay. I mean, they don't all have to be, you know.
In the press of this, they were like, "Is this your next album?" And she said, "No, my next album is already done, and in a month you're going to get the first single," which then set the internet ablaze.
Excuse me, by the way, in the 10 minutes since I mentioned it, now the Washington Post has texted me. It's actually 120 additional sexual assault victims who are filing this class action suit.
Every 5 minutes, there's going to be a new person added to it.
Okay. A few days ago, something aired called the People's Choice Country Awards, which I did not know existed.
Me either. I don't know if they knew it existed either.
It was hosted by a singer who we formerly knew as Shania Twain, but who ascended to the stage looking like 60s era Bridget Bardot. First of all, she looks like $1 trillion, Shania Twain. But when I tell you,
she doesn't look like Shania Twain, but
there's not an ounce of Shania Twain left in Shania Twain physically. No. She sang, she sounded great, but she comes out there, she looks like my daughter. So not to be narcissistic, but like she comes out looking like that. And all I think is, I look like shit. Like, why aren't I getting more? I'm here talking about neck cream. I'll have what this bitch is having.
Yeah,
Jesus
I'll get
Christ.
a new face. Yeah.
Woo! A home run for her.
I mean, God love her. Loved the outfit too. It was wild, but it was like a denim and diamonds glittery situation that I was into.
I mean, to be clear, no one on this podcast in particular would ever critique anyone who gets work done unless it's not good. Shania Twain hit 5 home runs. Like, look, I don't know where Shania Twain is, but the woman who replaced her is even hotter than Shania Twain. Yeah. Shania Twain is Margot Robbie now. Like, it's truly unbelievable.
She got a facelift like when she had that newest album that was a couple years ago, she got a facelift then. And then I think it's like settled, but then she really went back in.
Your girl, Anna Delvey, did not last very long on Dancing with the Stars.
No, of course she didn't.
And she now famously, iconically, I suppose.
My girl, by the way, you love her too.
Well, I do not love her as much as you do.
Oh, I love
her.
Okay.
I don't poo-poo her, but
valid.
You definitely are the stan on this pod for her.
Yeah,
but when she is interviewed by Julianne Hough at the end of it, Julianne says, "What will you take from this experience?" And she just says, nothing. With the smile on her face. And that was the end of it.
Honestly, icon. Incredible.
Do you think that Anna Delvey was thinking like monetarily, what am I taking from this? Or was she really like, I will leave this experience a less of a person than I was?
First of all, they like basically booed her whenever she went out on the stage. It wasn't great. And again, let me remind everyone, she was like defrauding a hotel chain,
she's a criminal. Yeah.
She's not, who is she? Brett Favre? No. Who's like feeling like, like she's not like taking like welfare money from people who need it. She was like defrauding hotels. And did you see the one interview with her? This might have been old, but they were like, you were like throwing hundreds everywhere, like to like grease the palms of all these people. And she goes, well, if someone's excited by $100 bill, that's their problem.
I can't.
Incredible. Love it.
I can't. Hoda Kotb. I was actually surprised at what a huge story this was this week. Maybe it's just because we live in New York and the tabloids love it.
Yeah.
So she's leaving she's staying at NBC News, but she's leaving the Today Show.
No, that's big, Dominic. That's big to me.
I guess, you know what? I was a Today Show devotee. Like, I would wake up at 6:55, get my business done so I could turn it right on during most of the Katie Couric years, but certainly during Meredith Vieira. She was like my absolute favorite.
You love Meredith Vieira.
Love her. And I've said this before, when I used to do the warm-up at The View, she wasn't even just like my favorite co-host of the show. She was the only one that actually ever spoke to me.
Joy wasn't coming out to say hi to you.
No, none of them. Meredith would stop me in the hallway and be like, "How are you doing? You're so good at this. Are you having a good time?" And I would sort of look at her in stunned silence and be like, "You don't need to talk to me. It's okay." But I loved her. She was a hugger. Just like a wonderful person. And Elizabeth
Hasselbeck wasn't saying hello.
I wouldn't have anyway for obvious reasons, but I stopped watching then. And certainly I felt like morning television after the whole Matt Lauer thing, it just felt a little gross after a while, I think. And so I was never interested, and I switched over to New York One mostly. And so I guess I was so surprised that everyone went ballistic. Look, I love it.
It was, not for nothing. Our guest, Sean Hickey, I was like, "Are you okay?" Like, "Oh my God, Hoda." And I was like, "I'm sure your phone's exploding."
Oh, yeah. And I do have a friend that works on the third hour of Today. I probably shouldn't be so flip about it, but I was just so surprised that everyone was going so
No, but she's an anchor
ballistic.
There. Like, and when I say anchor, I mean like she really tethers the boat. You know what I mean? Like
she's 60, she's got young kids, and she's basically like, I just need to live for a minute. It's okay. I loved her reasons. I mean, they're real.
I like that. You know what I mean? Like when she's like, "All right, I did it." Yep. Like that, like normalize that is what I'm going to say.
100%. So we love Hoda. Congratulations. I'm still surprised at how much it was like, but whatever. Bowen Yang did you watch SNL this week?
I only saw the clips.
So did you see Bowen doing Wu-Tang?
Wu-Tang,
hippo, who was also, he was, also like, it was like a Wu-Tang hippo, and also sort of playing with Chappell Roan's situation where she's sort of growing weary of her celebrity. Well, Bowen and SNL have taken like giant hits from Chappell Roan's rabid fan base. I personally thought that the sketch was brilliant. I thought
that's a funny way to like play with
Absolutely. I thought it was a genius way to meld these two stories together. I thought, just as a comic and a writer, I thought it was brilliant. I thought his performance was brilliant. I don't know how he didn't crack up laughing when they were spraying him with that fucking hose.
Incredible.
If you haven't seen the sketch, please go look for it on Instagram. It's truly hilarious. And I don't know. I feel like Bowen and probably Matt Rogers, I feel like they're friends with Chappell Roan. I feel like she's been on Las Culturistas, and I think he has his own history of like mental problems and has been very honest about it. Like he sort of went undercover during the summer.
Yeah.
And I feel like he only would have done this if he had cleared it with her. Now, he hasn't said that he's cleared it with her, but when people are saying that he's mocking her, he's basically saying, "You're out of your fucking mind. Like, this is SNL." And
also, he is mocking her because it's SNL.
I just don't think it was as bad as everyone thinks. Yeah, I don't think anyone was making fun of mental illness. I thought they were just conflating two pop culture news stories.
But did we ever do this? Like, we never did this, right?
What?
If like someone made fun of a celebrity, I guess we really have the access to do it. To be like, no, you know what I mean? Like, because we didn't have the internet yet whenever we were like,
yeah, younger. I guess so. I guess not. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. Are you ready for this?
I'm sure I'm gonna be.
Courtney Love is a grandmother, honey.
Oh, God.
Frances Bean has given birth to Kurt Cobain's grandchild.
They had a kid together?
Who? Kurt and Courtney?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you are too. Because you were just
I was like a
when Nirvana was Nirvana. Yes. Yeah, you really were.
Like
Frances Bean. I don't know what her relationship is like with her mother, but yeah, Courtney Love has grandma energy. She's now an actual grandmother to match the possibly pre-existing grandma energy. That was a shade.
What's Courtney Love up to these days?
I don't know. Probably buying Pampers for her grandkid. I have no idea. I don't know what she's doing. Do you think she'll change the name of her band to Grand Hole now from just Hole?
Oh, yeah. She's in like Hole. Yeah. Dear God, Grand Hole.
Other passages of life. Rebel Wilson got married. to a woman. They both wore white wedding dresses. The nerve. But
why?
because the nerve. How virginal. But congrats to all involved. I don't know. I can't even remember why. I feel like I sometimes like and then sometimes dislike Rebel Wilson, but everyone is entitled to be happy, so I'm happy for her.
Yeah, same.
We have not heard the last of the baby reindeer lawsuit.
Oh, I just saw this. Saw this.
Netflix has lost their bid to dismiss the defamation claim that is being brought forth by the woman who is claiming that I'm the person being tormented in this, well, not doing the tormenting in this miniseries. So everyone thought it died down. It won Best Limited Series, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Everything at the Emmys, and now the lawsuit rages on. I think it winning those Emmys was the best thing that happened to this woman who's suing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. It was truly like, because if they would have lost, then everyone would be like, well, look, it's over. They didn't get any awards. Like, it's whatever. Like, the show's over. But the fact that they won all the awards that they were nominated for, basically, she could be like, look, it's an international sensation and I need that money. Yeah.
Now she knows you have that Emmy money now.
Yeah.
So Drake's camp has released a statement saying he has not sent a cease and desist letter to block Kendrick Lamar from performing Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. So we could still see it happen.
He has to do it, right? He has to.
I mean, how will Kendrick present this? Because if I'm Kendrick and I'm petty, I'm going to have 100 Drake lookalikes come out in like baggy light blue sweaters twirling behind me while the song is sung.
With a Birkin on each elbow. Like you said, that I still laugh at every day. Oh, God. A closet full of Birkins. That's what he should have as like, whenever they rise up out of the stage. And sometimes it's like a spinning like cylinder thing. It's like a spinning cylinder, but when it turns around, it's like a closet of Birkins, and that's how he walks out, and then that's all he has to do.
I got to tell you that everyone always talks about how gay the halftime show is. Like they're always throwing like Madonna and Beyonce in there to sort of like bring it. I think this cliffhanger about is Kendrick going to shade Drake? This is already the gayest halftime show ever. Yeah. So
not even Katy Perry could be.
Even when you throw your people in there, heterosexuals, it's still gay. The halftime show is still goddamn gay. It's a beef. It's a beef.
And it also is gay because that's the only reason why all gay people and women watch the Super Bowl.
It's going to be great.
So it is. Yeah.
Someone's going to die. I don't even know why I just said that.
No, but like,
die.
No, this is high drama.
Have you seen photos of our girl, Lindsay Lohan at the Balenciaga show in Paris?
Okay. So Dominic, here's the thing. I was going back.
Are you about to surprise me with your reaction to this?
No. I'm gonna pat us on the back like I never do. I was going back through the old Fixie Awards in preparation to start to get our long list and our short lists of nominees for this year.
Right.
And I'm like listening back to the episode to be like, okay, what are the awards that we gave out? Like, let's, what do I got to do? We deemed her most fixed celebrity last year. I don't know if you remember this.
I do remember.
And we called it again because she looks like what Shania Twain wishes she looked like.
Oh, why must you shade Shania to praise Lilo? Go ahead.
But like what Shania was going for, Lindsay did.
Yeah. Lindsay
looks incredible.
Better than she has ever looked. This is a petty, superficial podcast. We talk about people's looks here. If she turns ugly, we'll still love her. But she's fucking gorgeous, head to toe.
That's a star.
Yep.
That's a star right
That's the same thing I thought. Yep.
That's a star.
It's like there she is. That's why everyone who has stuck by her for 20 years, that's what everyone knew that she was. And her getting back together with Jamie Lee Curtis in the Freaky Friday sequel.
No, it's happening.
It's happening. This is it.
And she looks in the photos. I mean, for the last 20 years, like 10 years at least, every photo of her, she looks like
puffy.
Insane, right?
Just puffy, but I'm unhealthy.
But also mentally, like you're like, there's not a person inside of this body. Like in these photos, she's in the driver's seat.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks utterly fantastic.
Like, she
it
looks
made me
like-
excited
yes.
for Freaky Friday. It
Oh,
really did.
Freakier Friday, which I'm going to the midnight premiere with my
And also-
mother-in-law.
Yes.
Which she said, she was like, we're going to the midnight premiere.
Now, this next story, I can't wrap my head around the intricacies of it, but Naomi Campbell was basically removed from the board of trustees of her own charity for misappropriating funds.
She's going down too.
You know what? I don't care. I feel like if she's
evaded
good.
Jeffrey Epstein's plane. She's evaded like assault. She's evaded like laughing in a judge's face. Like, this might be finally the thing that gets her off the Invincibles list, because they're basically like, they don't know where what $300,000 is, right? Isn't that what it is? Like, there's $300,000 that can't be tracked.
Yeah. But it's like the most
Incredible.
Naomi sort of thing to do. It's just like she diverted funds from a charity for some luxury expenses. I'm like, well, okay, if you want Naomi Campbell associated with your charity, let her spend whatever she wants. Isn't that the trade-off? And by the way, let her take the money and repay it late whenever she wants.
And again, if this was another celebrity, like, we would be like, put them in the clink. You know what I mean?
Not her,
like, we would
no.
be like, arrest them. Like, this is
Anyone
terrible.
Anyone else.
Yeah.
Fixing Famous People would like to release an official statement regarding the Naomi Campbell scandal. We feel as though Naomi Campbell should be allowed to steal whatever she wants from whomever, including orphans. That is all. Thank you. Contact our attorneys. We won't close on this, but we do have to go in a minute. But there was a lot of like major celebrity death this week.
Yeah,
Good
a lot.
Lord. Dame Maggie Smith. If you didn't love her, no one cares about your opinion.
There
anyway.
were so many think pieces, like, and when I say think pieces, I mean Instagram posts where people were like,
which would be called non-think pieces.
like, where they were like, oh, she was in Hook in the 90s. They aged her up to be like an old woman. So everyone my age like believed that she was that age for our entire lives.
That's so funny.
Like, and so then she's in like all these other things, and then she's in Harry Potter, and she looks so old then, but that was like for the first time that she was ever actually that old. And I was like, she's been this age for 30 years. And it's like, no, actually she was only 50 in Hook, and now she's like, you know what I mean?
Well, she won her first Oscar before even I was born. And then she won her second Oscar in the 70s. And, you know, so for people in the 60s and 70s, she was like Judi Dench-ish or Meryl Streep-ish. And then, you know, it wasn't like she didn't work in the 80s, but then Harry Potter came about, and just, as she has said in many interviews, like her life just turned upside down.
100%. Well, that was, and also like Professor McGonagall was like one of the really,
like an iconic character.
Character. And also like she was kind of the like benevolent professor in the books that was like helping the three main characters a lot. So it was like a big character. And so
she
when
was loved. So the character herself,
everyone
was loved.
my age, even if we didn't know who she was, like you immediately are like, oh, I love this I love this actor now. Like she was really introduced to my generation through Harry Potter.
Drake Hogestyn, who played John Black on Days of Our Lives for almost 40 years, also passed away. Anyone who was even a casual viewer of that show, or anyone who was my age and went to their grandmother's house for sick days when you were in elementary and junior high school, absolutely knows who this guy is. He was only 70. By all accounts, just the sweetest man. Everyone at Days of Our Lives is just absolutely devastated. He had pancreatic cancer. Sending well wishes to the Smiths and the Hogestyns. Chris Christopherson died this week. That was a life well lived. You know, he was well into his 80s. But I love that most of the positive tributes to him this week include him singing with Barbra Streisand in A Star Is Born.
Obviously.
And him also 2 weeks after Sinead O'Connor's scandal with ripping up the Pope's picture on SNL, when she was getting booed on stage at MSG, he came out and put his arms around her and said, don't let them get you down, and was like a source of support for her.
And like for
It's
a lot of her
memory.
life was like also supporting her. Like I was reading something where it was like, even like years later, he would always say like he spoke up about like she shouldn't have gone through what she went through, making that statement. Yeah. Which now we all know was completely correct, by the way.
Of course. Broadway star, Tony winner Gavin Creel. This is very sad. He passed away a few days ago. The theater community is reeling. He was apparently one of the sweetest people who has ever lived, a huge proponent of theater. He was only 48 years old and died from an aggressive form of cancer that he only found out he had in July. I don't know how to make the story sadder than that if I wanted to, but sending well wishes to his family as well. We actually know a lot of people at our normal crowd at the Duplex, people who are actual friends with Gavin Creel. And just very shocking. He was very young and very vibrant and just got sick very quickly. And as we are, God, there's so much death. We apologize. We're just reporting the news. But the dad from Good Times, John Amos, passed away right before we were starting to do the Pre-Fixe. Loved Good Times. Still love it. Catch it occasionally. The old version, not the new cartoon on Netflix. So quite a week for notable celebrity deaths. Good Lord.
I mean, yeah. It's been a whirlwind, as we like to say here.
Speaking of whirlwinds, we leave you today with two more stories. The first of them is Ryan Murphy's Menendez miniseries on
Dominick.
Netflix. I don't understand how Ryan Murphy, basically the entire family is saying the whole thing is bullshit. And weeks or days after this thing is released, they're still doing like full cast press conferences where the cast is defending the insane amount of dramatic license that was taken doing this. So I feel like this is a watershed moment for Ryan Murphy.
Dominick, I was like, we're turning. It's turning right now.
Because if he gets away with this, he can do for the rest of his life whatever he wants. He becomes the Naomi Campbell of Netflix miniseries. That's
Correct. But this is people are like, what the fuck is this that I'm watching? Like even Dahmer, they were like, this is like glorifying murder and blah, blah. Like there was a lot of people coming out being like, during Dahmer that were like, I don't like this. And it still was like the most watched thing ever. This one, people are like, what the fuck is this?
I don't know. Once Kim Kardashian gets involved and is bringing the actor that played Eric to visit Eric in prison, this is foolishness.
To be like, just don't say anything so we can like pretend like you and your brother fucked each other the whole time. And that's why you murdered your parents.
It didn't work because after the visit, the family released more statements saying like the whole miniseries is bullshit.
Like, stop sending Kim Kardashian to us.
You know what's going to happen? Ryan Murphy has bastardized this story so much. Those boys are just going to get released because of this. That's what this miniseries has done.
I know.
Ryan Murphy's dramatic license is freeing prisoners from jail. Ryan Murphy is a menace, ladies and gentlemen. It needs to be stopped.
And if you'd like to hear our real thoughts on it, you can go back and listen to our episode about it with Amy Phillips.
Speaking of menaces, before we get to these vital messages prior to fixing Joe Jonas, I'm thrilled that finally I will be announcing the dates for my holiday tour next Wednesday on this podcast. And I think I'm going to 12 cities. Is one of them yours? I don't know because we're not booking it. I can tell you for sure, though. I can tell you for sure at this time that I'm going to San Francisco and Los Angeles and Palm Springs, Nashville, which I'm super fucking excited about, Chicago, New York City, DC, and Boston. There are several other cities there I didn't name that we're just waiting to put in pen in the next 48 hours. And so I don't want to jinx anything and say it, but if you didn't hear your city, I'm probably going there anyway. Is Chris DeRosa joining me? We don't know because he's just hearing these dates for the first time as well. We rarely
get your tickets is all I'm going to say. You know, I might be popping up there either in person or via satellite.
Oh, really? We should talk about that. That would be hilarious. I need a monitor.
You should have a monitor of just me on an iPad. That's like that rolling ball iPad thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Chris will definitely be at the show in New York City. And
absolutely.
Then we'll see which other ones we can sneak him into. And I'm excited. Dom, we now are Gay Apparel 2024. Will I be talking about Jennifer Lopez on stage? I mean, come on.
Definitely.
Come on. And that's
Will she be there?
Oh my God. Do you think she'll come to all the cities just to try to ruin me?
She has stalked us before. Will she come to your holiday show and sit in the back?
Maybe.
The answer could be yes.
She canceled her own tour, so I know she's free.
Oh my God. Yes, all quiet on the Western Front as far as J-Lo goes.
Yeah, I know, because they're getting back together.
And like, she's like, please, I need to like not be. People, there's like, yeah.
Because she's literally, every day.
Is she gonna get roped into this?
let me tell you something. Every day she's giving Ben Affleck a rim job, coming up for air and saying, please don't tell anyone I fired that gun in Diddy's car. Every day. Prove me wrong, Jennifer Lopez. Prove me wrong. On that note, this Joe Jonas episode is so much fun, by the way. This was one of those episodes where I was like, how much can we say about Joe Jonas? Turns out a lot. Turns out a whole hell of a lot.
A whole lot. Almost too much. And with two returning guests, two amazingly hilarious returning guests. And they'll be here right after these messages.
You know that feeling when your favorite brand really gets you? Deliver that feeling to your customers every time. Memorable moments like these are key to building your business and your brand. Klaviyo turns your customer data into real-time connections across AI-powered email, SMS, and more, making every moment count, so you can continue to build smarter, more meaningful relationships with your customers. Build smarter digital relationships with your customers and make every moment count with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com/BFCM.
Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Dominick, we have two returning guests that on this podcast are legendary.
That is true.
We have Tionah Lee, the first person to ever win versus Dominick and I.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. She's a gladiator, for God's sake.
She's a gladiator. Yes. And we have, I was literally going to say all of your middle names before your first name. Caitie Rosen, who gifted us the actual Christmas gift of the CCB episode. Right. This is big. This is big.
Was that last year's Fixie winner for best episode?
No, it was close though.
What won last year?
Hilaria Baldwin with Deanna Chang won last year. Yeah.
Always. Welcome back, both of you. It is wonderful to see both of you. We do see Caitie on occasion on those live Zooms, and she just speaks in small spurts and once like every 15 minutes.
I don't like that she...
I don't understand the pattern, but...
I don't like that she holds back.
Just when I have something really important to say.
Well, I want you to say a lot of things.
I think you have more important things to say than we give you credit for.
You both separately either have come to me or I've come to you and you've been like, can we fix Joe Jonas so I can like freely love him again? Basically is what you're both...
that's a nice reason to want to fix someone at least.
They want like some respect on his name. Is this correct, ladies?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did buy a shirt and a tote bag at their concert last year, like 2 weeks before the drama started. So I was like, well, I want to be able to use that tote bag and not have to like put tape over his face.
So this is an emergency, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yes, I have a Treat Yourself t-shirt that I would love to wear.
That's
Katie's like, now my tote bag seems chic in some way, doesn't it?
Yourself.
Jesus Christ on a cross.
Now, you guys sound like super fans, so we'll play the middle name game, but is there any chance someone here already knows Joseph Jonas's middle name?
Adam.
Oh, game over. That's it.
I don't know if I'm not gonna lie. I don't think we were doing the middle name game when Tionah was on this podcast last time.
Oh my God.
I don't think
really?
I think we just said her middle name. Now we guess, but now we can't.
That is so funny. That is just like when Elizabeth Taylor came out at the Golden Globes and just said, I'm Elizabeth Taylor, and the winner of Best Picture is Gladiator. And she just shouted it out. That was fantastic. But yes, it is Joseph Adam Jonas, born just a few months after I graduated high school in 1989. I did not know that he was born in Arizona. He is 35 years old, and whatever is before Virgo is because he's what a Leo. He is. Got it. I know when Virgo is because
we know why you know.
They haunt me. I know their dates, but I don't know the people around them. So when you talk about Caitie Rosen, when you talk about the Troubles, what are we speaking about specifically? Because I know it's not the Irish film with Kenneth Branagh. These are actual troubles.
So specifically, I'm referring to the custody disputes following his divorce filing from Sophie Turner of last year, where she was filming a show in Europe. He had the kids with him on tour. He filed for divorce. And then there was like a lot of paparazzi photos of like him with his children being like, she's off partying. She was like filming a show. And like he's being a doting dad with his daughters on tour. And then her being like, actually, he's holding our children's passports hostage and won't return them to me in England. Like we had agreed that we would all move to England and now he's not letting us do that. And then he was like, that's not what's happening. And then she was, hanging out with Taylor Swift. And while she was like in New York,
Swift picture, the Taylor Swift picture was big. That was big.
Yeah. So like then she had to like come to New York to like figure out all this like custody stuff. And then it took them till January to figure that out for the lawsuit to be dropped. But that's the troubles in this.
Well, yeah, you're running right through it, but let's take it one step at a time. Well, I mean, do we even want to talk about their career? I mean, where did you both come in with the Jonas Brothers?
I worked at Limited too.
Oh, we heard this last time. We knew this because you had like the discography of the like Disney album that you had to play. Okay.
And Please Be Mine by the Jonas Brothers always played on a loop. And I was like, oh, I like these boys. And I bought the album that had the concert DVD that you had to like, member DVDs. And I was like, oh, this is it. And so ever since then, that was 2007. I've just been down for the ride.
When did they start?
Like Jonas? 2006. Really.
Yeah. I think I maybe started to become a fan like a little bit later. I was absolutely too old to be like a Jonas Brothers fan for sure. But I was like, I'm like the same age as Kevin. And so I just like was like, no, it's fine. I'm allowed to be a fan.
We're peers.
I'm the same age as one of the people in the band.
Everyone else at this concert is 11 years old, but yeah. Like,
yeah. But so I like one of my best friends, Liz, Chris, who you've met, we met like at an engineering like pub crawl where we were the only two, just like all the like other engineering students were like off like drinking. We're like, let's go watch the Year 3000 music video instead of hanging out with all these people.
Who accompanied us as the first guests at a new, what was it called?
Yeah, Dos Caminos or whatever.
Oh, that's fucking, I forgot that story.
Yes, that list. And so that was about when I started, I was like a fan pretty early on in a way where I was like, I am not going to tell a lot of people about this, but I do feel it strongly.
I told everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tionah's putting it on her Instagram story when it was his birthday. She was like, "This is my king." Like blah blah blah. Like
every year, Facebook. My family knows it's coming on Facebook. Like she's gonna wish that white boy happy birthday.
Okay, is Joe your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin is.
But I've met Nick the most, so that's like crazy.
The most? That implies so many meetings.
So our first run-in was when I photobombed him and Ryan Seacrest during a event at Macy's Herald Square. And I skipped class. And when I went to class, I was in grad school, mind you. So
okay.
I ran to like class and my teacher was like, well, was it worth it? And I was like, yeah, I saw Nick Jonas. And then my phone started buzzing. He posted the picture and I'm like front and center in the middle of the photo with him and Ryan Seacrest. And then when I started doing events across the city, I would just like run into him and get a little selfie. So I've got like 3 pictures with him.
I really am sort of taken aback by the level of education of the Jonas Brothers fans on this podcast. Like engineering students, grad students, like does Hanson have this level of education?
No, I was going to bring up Hanson next.
Unfortunately, yes.
You also love Hanson.
I am
not anymore. Not anymore.
Both of you.
That they've become unfixable, I believe.
Boom Bop is one of my favorite songs, but I do agree.
Slaps.
Yeah.
Boom Bop
And
slaps.
the Jonas Brothers did a callback to Hanson because they want to have a pop and lock battle dance against Hanson. So
in the year 3000, of
bring
course.
it together.
Yeah.
Yes.
They really are like they were the next coming of Hanson. Hanson was something that when I was a kid, we were like obsessed with them. 3 brothers in a band together, and they had long blonde hair, and I really wanted to grow my hair out.
My first concert ever.
Really?
Oh, amazing.
Wow. And the Jonas Brothers really did. They were Disney stars with your girl, Dimitri. What was her name? What's her real name? Demetria? Is it? Demetria Lovato. And they were in Camp Rock, right?
Oh, such a good
And then they became, South Park did an episode about them, didn't they?
Yeah, about their rings, and the Mickey Mouse was like cussing them out in the dressing room.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
That's right.
They had purity rings.
They had the purity rings, and Mickey Mouse was like yelling at them. I was like, "You boys better get on stage!" And they were like,
"Yeah." Oh, that's yeah. Oh God, that's really funny.
I just remember paying attention to them. Like, I knew who they were. I'm sure that I made fun of them. If I knew their songs, it was by accident because I, unlike you, am truly too old to have been like at the time Jonas Brothers fan. But I remember
now they're right in your demographic, actually.
Oh, like they're actually, if I'm being honest, on a dating level, they're too old for me in 2024. Right.
Yes.
See me in the fall or next year. But I remember the tectonic shift when it became obvious that Joe was not the undisputed hottest Jonas brother, because growing up, it was always like Joe and Co. But then Nick Jonas, he must have bought a Thighmaster or whatever they were using back then. And he's tied with Joe, depending on what they're wearing and who's got the better skin regimen that day. There
was a Vulture analysis of like the day that Nick Jonas got hot, and it was like early picture, recent picture, and they kind of worked inward to find like, okay, not hot, and they went to find the like exact, I think they narrowed it down to like a week of when he switched from like young to hot.
That is so fucking funny.
It was very good.
And I'd like to add too that Kevin Jonas is also, I won't be uncouth, he's also very sexy. Like all 3 of them are sexy adult men.
Kevin has always been my favorite. I'm obsessed with Kevin.
Somebody's
one time Real Housewife of New Jersey cameo star.
He was doing the house, and she was like, "Aren't you a singer?"
Yeah,
and he was like,
he was doing construction in the off years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Because Kevin was like the one who could read and was like the homebody-ish one, right? Like he was the first one married,
He was the first one who got married, but whenever they were like in it, like on their show and in like the movies, he was always like the dumb, funny one.
Yeah.
Nick was like the serious, smart one.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Nick would be B. Arthur, and then Kevin would be Betty White. And Joe would
Blanche.
probably be Blanche.
Yeah.
Yes. There we go.
Yes.
That's fun. That was we needed that, by the way. We really did need that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Now everyone my age listening has points of reference.
For real. So they're really famous. Then they kind of go away because they like age out of being Disney stars.
They broke up.
Oh.
Nick broke the band up.
Yeah.
Why? Because he married Priyanka Chopra?
It's kind of controversial. They made a whole documentary about it.
Here we go. Go ahead, Caitie.
The plug. Yes.
So what happened? What do we know? Why?
There was like Kevin was like wanted to just like be with his girlfriend who is like now his wife, and like Nick wanted to sort of do his own thing music wise, and Joe just wanted to like, I don't know, date every person he saw or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they kind of went off in their different directions. But yeah, Nick was the one who was like...
They came back and they were ready to do an album. I remember I bought tickets and I had the meet and greet, and I was going to go to Baltimore, which was going to be the second show after Philly. And a week before Philly, they were like, "Sorry to inform you guys, but the show is canceled. You'll be getting a refund." And I was like, "Oh my God, is Nick sick? What is happening?" The next day, it was the Robin Roberts Good Morning America interview where they're sitting on the couch and they're like, and Kevin is like, yeah, the Jonas Brothers are no more. And Nick and Joe really didn't want to talk. And then come to find out, Nick like went to them a week before the tour started and was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And pretty much like,
did he have another offer or something?
He was like, he had just come off of doing Broadway, I think. And he was really like into doing solo projects. This was way before Jealous. So in the documentary, Joe goes, Nick gets a taste of, you know, Broadway and the solo life, and he wants to end everything that we worked for. And that's pretty much it. He like called their dad and was like, I'm over this. And Joe and Kevin had no choice but to like be like, all right.
Huh.
Yeah.
And then he tries to be like an actor and like do all this stuff. And then
and succeeds.
Yeah. Sure. He does. He does. And is returning to Broadway soon.
Yes, next
with
year.
Adrian Warren. Yeah.
In a slightly controversial role because because the character he's playing is like canonically Jewish and he is famously not Jewish.
They're Italian, right? Am I wrong?
I think, yeah.
Because they're from New Jersey, right? Aren't they from they're Sicilian too. Okay.
Oh, they're Sicilian. That's even better. They look Sicilian.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe Jonas is so, I mean,
he's
he
hot.
is just like,
he's really hot.
Even ugly Joe Jonas is like a 12. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, even when he's wrapped in bandages, he's a 10. Good Lord.
Even in this main photo of him on Google, when you Google his name, that is like teetering on white Michael Jackson, he's still really hot. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're so like, this is like hot white Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Oh, those eyebrows.
Eyebrows.
Really.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why
Anyway.
he's dated like every famous, beautiful woman he's ever wanted to date.
Sure.
And that's how you do it. Just, you know, whenever I have the opportunity, that when you're famous, that is what you're supposed to do. Otherwise,
I think if you want,
why bother? Yeah, well, if you want, sure. But why be famous if you're not going to like eat everything on the plate?
Exactly.
Tionah and I need to move Tionah and I to one side of my frame here and then Chris and Caitie to the other.
So then what happens then eventually, like he does a song, Jealous, Kevin does, and then he's like, all right, we should just do this again as brothers because that's what everyone wants, right?
So right after that, that's when Joe entered his fast lane era and he buzzed the side of his hair, like faded it up. He got with Justin Timberlake's choreographer, and you guys know how I feel about Justin Timberlake. So I knew, I was like, oh my God, is that Marty? It was. And he was doing like small clubs.
I know Tionah loves Justin Timberlake still, which makes me very upset. That's like our sticking point of our friendship, but yeah.
And so he grabbed Marty. He was doing, it was like hip hop era. He had a Lil Wayne feature. He had Gigi Hadid in the lead in his video. And that's when they started dating. And things like did not take off the way they were supposed to. Like at that time, his relationship with Gigi was like the best thing. Like they went to the Lyme disease gala together. Like that's where they made their debut. And so that did not
wow,
work.
that's like The Notebook. It's so romantic.
I
Who
feel
chose
like
that?
we can't talk about Joe and Gigi though without her comments about how he actually asked her out when she was 13 and he was 19 and she said no. And then they dated later when she wasn't a literal child anymore.
That's really bad. Guys, that's really bad.
Yeah. Do we have to stop fixing him now?
No, but like...
No, keep it going.
That's bad.
Right here.
Wait, but she was 13 and he was 19. Ooh, that's bad.
That's insane.
Yeah, she said no,
also,
so you know.
That was very much disputed though. Like he was like, come on now, like,
She said he asked her to go to a baseball game, so maybe he was just like, we'll all go to a baseball game. Could be.
Yeah.
Sure.
I heard that the National Organization of Women is actually changing the phrase to believe women ... except Gigi Hadid. This is what I have read online. I cannot confirm.
My God, Dominic.
Believe all women except for that one.
Because then didn't he have the band, The Cake by the Ocean? That's Joe Jonas, right?
DNCE.
And the thing, wait, you know what's really funny? I'm just realizing this right now. Someone I went to college with who did band photography was their photographer. And when they were like first coming out, there were these like underground shows that they would like announce in New York City. And he kept messaging me being like, come to one of the shows. I haven't seen you since college. Like, come here, like come there. And I couldn't go because I was filming, I think, Housewives. And so I couldn't go to the, like, but they did all these cool club, like these shows. And my one friend went and was like, I was standing there and looked over and like Gigi Hadid is just standing right next to me. And like,
that's crazy.
And it was when she was like becoming like the biggest model in the entire world.
I went to one and she was in the balcony and everybody was like, Gigi Hadid. And I was like, I don't care.
You just shot her a dirty look. It's years later. You're still angry about it.
Like, turned my back. Like, okay, not my man. Like,
And so Cake by the Ocean. Wow, what a song.
Am I wrong? Did they win a Grammy?
I don't think
so.
They didn't. No.
Did Cake by the
They
Ocean.
won something. DNCE
A VMA
Awards.
probably.
Oh, you know it probably was. Hang on.
They won Best New Artist, VMA, right?
They did win Best New Artist at the VMAs.
Okay,
They
that's
won.
not what you remember, Dominic.
They won a People's Choice. Were nominated for a People's Choice Award, 2 iHeart Music Awards.
Okay, Dominic.
Good for them.
They won an MTV European Music Award for Best Push Act.
What does that mean?
They were nominated for an AMA for New Artist of the Year and Favorite Pop Rock, but they haven't won anything. They won that Europe Award, that's it, and then they won Best New Artist at the VMAs.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm now confused the Grammys with the VMAs.
That's very upsetting. Okay, so then they get back together. The brothers, the power of 3 will set us free, and then they get back together, right? Because they're
2019.
Yeah, and then they put out new music, and this is I remember like very vividly. It's like them putting out new music.
That's when
Everyone
Sucker
liked
came
it.
out.
Yeah,
with all the wives in the video.
Mm-hmm.
So Sophie and Joe, Priyanka and Nick, and then Kevin and Danielle.
Why isn't Danielle a Real Housewives of New Jersey? Why isn't she?
Did you watch Jonas on E?
Why is she boring?
I mean, love her down, but just watch one episode.
Okay, copy that. Copy that.
I think she has the look, but not the energy.
Sure.
I think she did an interview and they asked her, and she was like, "No, those ladies would like eat me alive."
Yeah, like I can't do this. Yeah, like I'm not. I don't have the willpower.
Not my wife, please. Not my wife.
So then, when does he marry Sophie Turner?
They got married in 2000 Nick was 18, so
I think it was 2019.
Yeah, 19.
Is this during Game of Thrones?
This is like as it was kind of
final
ending.
season, because they tried to say that he's the one who put that ominous Starbucks cup in the background.
No. They tried to blame it on Joe Jonas.
Yes, it was 2019 because remember they got married in Vegas after the Billboard Awards when they did like their first big show. Like that was like their first televised appearance when the guys got back together. And Diplo live streamed the ceremony. He wasn't supposed to. And Joe and Sophie were pissed, but like Khalid was there. It was like a random Elvis. They got married with like ring pops. And Diplo like live streamed it.
It was very funny.
So then after that, they got married in Paris.
Oh.
All right, but that seems like fun that they like got married in Vegas. Or do we think that it was like
it was a very fun whirlwind romance for a 20-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Was she 20 years old?
Yes.
Oh God. Oh no!
This is viral here.
Celebrity birth certificate registrar.
Like, first of all, according to the records, like, yeah.
Wow. I will say, I don't think she was ever that young. Even on Game of Thrones.
She also didn't really like date while she was filming Game of Thrones. So like allegedly her first date with Joe was her like first date.
No.
No, because it was in like a pub or something.
Yeah.
And she was apparently dating this guy. Yeah, it was their first like date, but she was dating some guy back home. I think he played like rugby or something.
No, it was her brother that played rugby.
He played with her brother.
Oh.
How do you even try to have sex with another human being when the first dick you got is Joe Jonas's? Who follows that? Like, how does that even happen? She'll never get married again. No, I don't subscribe to this.
The British guy, Peregrine Pearson, that she's dating.
She's dating him. Yeah.
Who is she
What's his name?
He's like an aristocrat.
Peregrine Pearson.
I can't even hear him. Peregrine again.
Peregrine.
And Joe's first girlfriend after was named Stormy Bree. So
Stormy
just two good
Daniels.
names for you.
She was Lucky Blue's ex.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Okay, so they get married, have kids.
2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what happens? Then like all's not quiet on the Western Front or what? Like,
they've like moved to Miami and they're very like isolated, according to Sophie.
I don't love them living in Miami.
No,
I don't like
it doesn't
that.
make any sense at all.
It makes sense.
It upsets me. I don't like them
She wants
there.
to be in England and he's like, let's live in Miami.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. I'm
And
already on
then-
her side here.
That's the house where apparently he caught her talking shit about him on the Ring camera while he was on tour.
Elaborate, please.
Apparently, like, so when the divorce filing came out, there was, of course, we're never going to see it or hear it, but she was talking shit on the Ring camera while he was on the road with the kids.
And she was like talking to someone, or she was on the phone, like on her front porch.
I don't
being
know.
like,
I just know she was talking shit, and that's not fair. Because
okay, Tionah. All right, so Trouble in Paradise, and then
I do also think like she had paused acting, like the pandemic had happened. They had 2 kids. She was raising her kids. And this was like her first project working again since they'd gotten together and Game of Thrones had ended.
I'm now remembering that was like the big criticism was like she
left her
paused
children to go work. Yeah.
But she paused her career to like have these kids, and now she wants to work again, and he's mad. And like, how dare he? Like, I get it. Like, which makes sense. But
allegedly.
Allegedly.
But then
you don't have to say that here.
My favorite thing was I went to night 2 at Yankees for their tour this was the album. 5 albums in one night.
A great concert.
Amazing. Such a great concert. I went to 3 of them. And so all the wives, their last tour, the Remember This tour, all the wives, it was the Jonas sisters. They had shirts like Caitie, like pictures together.
Yeah, they were a big part of it.
And so night 2, everybody was like, well, where's Sophie? And I'm looking, I'm like, okay, like, where is she? They're like, maybe she's backstage. And then you never saw her again. Like, and she hadn't even started the show. And so I was like, And they had an intro where they showed like clips of like them with their wives. And someone noticed, they were like, Sophie's not in it anymore. And by the time they got to the Newark date, because I went to the Newark show and I think that was the last show, but someone was like, she was out at MSG, like she wasn't, I came late, so I didn't see it. So she wasn't in it at MSG, but at Newark, like I was like, oh, she's not in it. And so that following, like it was like a few months later in September, he filed for, it was a Sunday. I was working and I had to break the news.
You had to break the news. You were so devastated to break that news too, weren't you, Tionah? Yeah.
What was my original opening line? I can't remember. I think I said something like, "This is an SOS, Joe Jonas," and I was like, "Let me delete that." Like, and then I was like, "Joe Jonas files for divorce from Sophie Turner!" Exclamation point! No, can't say that. Like, I was like, fix it, girl, fix it. Like, no.
Oh my
So,
God.
yes.
I think it was like 2 weeks after their Toronto show because I feel like I wore this shirt one time.
And
then
it
I was like,
I didn't even notice you were wearing a JoBros
There's a Jonas
shirt.
Brothers
There you
shirt.
go.
And he didn't have the ring. Everybody was like, "Where's Joe's ring?" And he didn't have the ring on. And so I was slowly like, something like you can just put the pieces together, right? We've been alive long enough to see, like,
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we get
know
it.
when a
Yeah.
like, celebrity relationship was over. And then they came out with that joint statement and we're like, we're focusing on the kids. And then it got so nasty.
Yeah. Well, then they tried to damage control it, but then it's like
oh, I want the kids in Europe with me, but he's holding them hostage and like has their passports and won't let me take them. And
the first thing was a story being like, Sophie wants to party, Joe wants to be at home, he's a doting dad, here's paparazzi photos of him with his children on tour. Meanwhile, the like picture they got of her partying was the wrap party for the show she was filming.
Yeah,
she
like she like has to go to.
Yeah. So that was the like first strike, was like, she's a bad mom, he's a good dad. And then she was like,
and
okay.
all of us that are not blinded by love said, like, we see right through this, right?
Well, I was like, this is a mess. I was like, this is absolutely a mess, and I'm here for it because here's the thing.
We should have recorded video on this.
I know. This is one we should have definitely done it.
Neither one of them, the entire relationship, we want to keep this so private. We don't want anyone to know. We're so... oh, we love each other.
Yeah,
we'll post feet or like a butt naked picture of Joe, like in the mirror or something, like very like private. But now you're getting divorced and it's nasty and loud. I was so here for it. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Like and it got to the point where I was like, I think maybe because I was also like writing and reporting on it and like reading the documents and stuff. And I was just like, this is so loud and nasty. And honestly, why weren't you guys like this your entire relationship? Maybe it would have lasted.
Well, they probably were and just weren't publicizing it.
Yeah.
Or he was keeping her locked away. We don't know.
Well, so then what is this?
Locked away in the attic. Like,
in Miami.
I know. Also, like, Joe just wants to be home in Miami, not partying. Excuse me. What?
Both of them at that. I'm like, come on now. Like,
yeah. So then I believe that then we get the Taylor Swift, Sophie Turner picture, arm in arm, leaving via Carota, a restaurant I still have never eaten at and really want to really badly.
Because the line's always too long.
I know, it's always too long. And like, who is it now? 22-year-olds eating there, Dominic? The West Village has become a cesspool. Anyway.
The whole neighborhood is a menace right now. The entire neighborhood.
A menace.
In Sophie's British Vogue interview that came out this spring, that was her like, here I am again kind of thing. She said that this was like she only kind of knew Taylor. And she had like reached out to Taylor to be like, maybe she knows someone who's renting an apartment I can stay at. And that's when Taylor like was like, come stay at my apartment.
I've got an apartment so that we can bash my ex-boyfriend.
How dare Taylor Swift pretend like she didn't reach out to her and was like, I will do whatever you want. Like, let's do, like, I have to sink my teeth into this and suck the life out of you.
He texted me in 2008 and broke up with me.
A 25-second phone call.
Yeah, like,
I'm forgetting that they even dated.
I will say that I almost didn't even want to talk about that on this podcast because I thought it was so stupid. And Christopher was like, this is a major news story. The fact that the two of these women are together. And I'm like, I truly was like, who cares?
But it was
I now know.
A lot of people care.
But it was a sign that Joe Jonas needs to watch his back, because if someone is reaching out to Taylor Swift who's going through a breakup, that's your Olivia Pope right there. Like
Taylor Swift.
That's like meeting with Putin. You know what I mean? It's like, we are at DEFCON 1 now. If my soon-to-be ex-wife is with the breakup lady, like you're cooked.
And then to top it all off, they had another night out with Selena Gomez and Gigi Hadid.
Jesus Christ. It's like the Addams Family of pop culture 2024 right there.
Addams Family.
Addams Family.
Love Selena Gomez. P.S. Sarah birthday with her.
Oh my God.
I do.
Wow. Also, my least favorite thing about all this, because after that, the song Much Better, Joe famously supposedly wrote that about Taylor. And he says, got a rep for breaking hearts. Now I'm done with superstars. After that, he kept saying, now I'm cool with superstars. If you would have done that to me, I absolutely would have been double done with superstars. Like, every show moving forward, like, oh, we can really change the lyrics. Like, there would have been like nothing cordial about it. Like,
my God.
So, ladies, let me ask you this question. You know, the stories that are out now are that Joe is being slammed because is the name of his album Music for People Who Believe in Love. Is the entire album anti the mother of his children? Yes or no?
No, it's like very like, I'm sad. There's a line in the first single release from the album that's even baddies get saddies.
Oh, brother.
So it's very much about like, I'm depressed, I'm growing,
I can confirm he did an interview with Billboard and he said, I'm not trying to comfort anyone on this album. I'm not trying to put stuff on blast. I have a beautiful life that I'm grateful for. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's getting out in front of it.
He's better than me because I would have been in the studio on the mic, like,
we know.
Here's my mixtape.
Sophie Turner, more like bitch ass Turner, like something.
Like, oh my God. So he's trying to, I guess, so we'll see. But like,
we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but basically he's trying to get out in front of it. They're like, Sophie's a drunk. And then like, oh, but then she's saying he's like holding my children hostage and I just want to see my kids.
They just they got
Britney
it sorted.
Spears.
The judge told them, y'all need to work it out on the remix and fast because this is ridiculous. Like, so they had to do like 2 separate mediations. I think they split it up and they had it set until the end of the year. So like he would have the kids for like Thanksgiving and she would have the kids for a portion of Christmas and they'd have to meet in New York to do the exchange and drop off no matter what they were doing. And I think on like January 1st, they were supposed to like have a whole plan, but then they were like, okay, enough of this, like enough is enough. And they just worked it out. And I guess they have an agreement.
Lawsuit and
Got it. So they were like,
and now
we just
they're
need
like,
to drop
just
all
like
this.
Cordially co-parenting.
Sure. All right. So like, they're like fine, alleged, like on paper, everything's like fine.
Fine. Yeah. Sophie was kissing that boy in Europe and he was with Stormy and
so now, okay. All right. But it does loom over their heads, I will say. Like I still remember that drama. Well, I mean, what else do we need to say before we get into it? I have no idea what my fix is.
I think it's less that he's like in a really bad spot and more just like he needs guidance.
Yeah.
Just to run down everything, we've got the age gap relationships. We've got the 25-second phone call with Taylor Swift breaking up with her. Then we didn't talk about his party boy days where he was like stumbling out of clubs and getting kicked out of all the bars in New York. And then his rehabilitation era, come back with the boys, and his marriage. And then like, I think really what took the cake was the divorce and how Taylor just got everybody on Sophie's side.
Okay, I think I'm ready. All right. Joseph, Adam, Jonas. No one is like excited about your sad boy era. Like they're accepting it. But from what I am seeing from our 2 guests / experts, like no one's like, this is about to be his best shit ever. Like they're just kind of like, this is what's happening and I'm attending. I think what he needs to do is not copy Harry Styles at all, but I want like a very fashion forward editorial photo shoot where he looks like fucking sexy as fuck. Like photos that like shake the tectonic plates. Do you know what I mean? And whether that's him in a dress or not, like I don't need that to be what it is, but like a bell-bottom pant with a cummerbund and like no shirt. Do you know what I mean? And like laying in like a weird, like very sexual photos that we're like all jizzing over in like either Vanity Fair, Vogue, something really high up. And that needs to like accompany this new album. And I think that he needs to drop a like cover. Okay, go with me here. The deluxe album, the deluxe version of this album is like, I want there to be a cover of the song Cool by Gwen Stefani. And in the music video, it's him and Sophie Turner. And like, it's just a recreation of that music video where they're like, okay. Because I think that he needs to be like, we're fine. And like, don't be upset. And like, we can be okay and like lead through example and also purity. Going back to his purity ring of like, I'm going to co-parent with my wife and like everything is good. And that's my pitch. Sexy, but then also I'm a nice father and a co-parent.
I have to say I'm really stumped. Like because I personally don't feel, I think he just needs to be refreshed more than fixed, which I think your pitch is also doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like he needs like a life change. He already broke away and like had, DNCE, like we could make fun of them all we want, but they were successful for the 5 minutes they were here. They were taken seriously.
100%.
I mean, Cake by the Ocean was a big hit,
Yeah.
They won a VMA.
It certainly did.
In Europe.
It won a VMA that some people mistook for a Grammy. So,
I mean, give them credit.
Everyone has already sort of charted their own path. So I feel like what we're trying to do here is just get him to be in the lead, sort of like get him to like catapult over Nick, whose wife is like an internationally renowned beauty. He's had a successful solo career. He's had a successful acting career crossing over many genres. He is a problematic icon in the queer community because a lot of people accuse him of queer baiting, etc. But I think they accuse all the JoBros of that. Kevin has sort of Kevin and Frankie have checked out of this whole thing. They're not in competition. They don't care. They can do whatever. But Joe, the reason we want to victim is because we think we expect better of him. Like we know that he's like an A++ person and he's not A++ing. So I think if this album were going to burn down the barn doors, we would have already known about it. Like I think we would have heard a whisper. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 hits. I'm sure Tionah will want to award them Pulitzer Prize for music no matter what they sound like, but
no matter what.
But I think to me, he should change lanes into fashion. I'm not copying Chris's idea, but I'm like, if you Google Joe Jonas fashion, it's a whole, especially when he was with Sophie Turner, like they are dressed, especially him. I think he should Tom Ford himself and just open up his own fashion house. I think it should just be House of Joe Jonas or House of Jonas or House of J-A-J, the initials. Because there's no way he's not interested in that. There's no way you get dressed the way he gets dressed and that you don't have some sort of eye for it. And he definitely does. He's hot as fuck. And I think he should just exploit the edge that he has. For me, maybe this guy is mean. Maybe he fucked over a couple of women. We just have to be honest. That works for particularly white men in our business. And I'm not saying lean into that part of it, but being edgy would not hurt him if he launched a fashion house. It doesn't mean he has to stop doing music, but it's almost like I feel like none of their hearts are in it anymore. And that's my pitch.
Are you ready for mine?
Tionah's trying to, okay,
she's
go
trying
girl.
She's trying to back
if this
to back
happens
it.
a second time in a row, you will get our natural reactions, by the way. We're always very fair with everyone. We're like, you have to knock us down with the idea and we have to both
Well, she
agree.
knows she did it.
Wait, and then do I get to pick between the 3?
Yes. Yeah, since
that's
Tionah's
very interesting.
Since Tionah is elected. Wait, yeah. Okay, hold on. Now you're right.
Because normally we're the two people normally it would be like, then Caitie should pitch an idea and we decide if the two of them have knocked us down, but this is a different situation.
I vote that Caitie can pick up from the 3.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'll as long as Tionah's okay with the change.
I am.
She's happy.
And as long as Caitie doesn't also have an idea.
Nah.
Okay. All right, Tionah, go with your obviously forthcoming winning idea so I can go out.
She's like, he should, wait, P.S. Tiana's about to pitch what Dominick usually pitches, which is he should come to my house.
I'm surprised I didn't do it. He should perform an evening with Dominick Pupa in his bedroom.
Okay, my pitch for Joe Jonas is I had the same idea, but magazine spread, we don't see the kids, right? It's the back of their heads. It's him. I would say Vogue is too much of a reach. So let's do Daddy GQ, Father's Day edit, in those fashions that you were speaking about. But also his biggest, I think his biggest pivot was you get you an old lady. I'm talking maybe a little older than Priyanka. And you step out with her. She's already got some kids of her own. Do the whole blended family thing, a la J-Lo, Ben Affleck.
How dare you?
Now we see that you're raising your kids, but you're also stepping up for someone else's kids.
Yeah, and you're also not trying to date a 13-year-old.
Yes, exactly. And you're not we're taking away the narrative that you want to just date young and hot. I think if you're gonna be this saddy daddy, you need to really play into that, but you need to rest your head on a nice cougar's chest and help her, with either she has grown children and a teen, or she had Priyanka, she had a child, kind of older, and you do the whole blended family thing. You let this music pass, come and go, get back with the brothers. Maybe we do a little reality TV show. We get another documentary, and yeah, embrace.
It's Ashton and
I
Demi
was just going to say it needs to be Demi Moore.
Yeah. Caitie.
Okay. Wow. I mean, ultimately it would be fun if he did all three of these.
Okay.
Just as a combo,
I mean, that can be an option if we want. We've done ties before.
I don't
but
think
she can pick. She can pick.
Yeah. I was just sort of
so cutthroat.
No, but she isn't floundering. She's just that's fun if we could do all three. And then Dominic's a tie, please.
I don't care about the win that much. What I do want, I'm jealous about the older woman thing because
that's really good.
I want Joe Jonas still to do my idea, but I want his fiance Helen Mirren to be walking down the runway with him when it
this
occurs.
is the thing, right? He starts the fashion house, then he does the spread that's on Evan Ross Katz's Instagram or whatever, and then
he spreads it for Judi Dench, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Once I already did my pitch, I was the actual real pitch is him being a DILF. Him leading into being a DILF and having his kids and being I'm a hot dad.
Yeah.
And anyway. Okay, Caitie, what do you think?
Okay, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised at this, but I am picking Tionah.
I'm closing our computer.
I love a cougar situation. I can't not vote for that.
I know. The minute
we've sat here for 1 hour, 1 minute and 47 seconds knowing what the outcome was going to be, and we still sat here for it.
Yeah.
Didn't wait.
Yeah.
Didn't wait.
I did. Okay. I did think about it. It wasn't automatic a decision. I thought about it hard.
The minute she said he's going to be with an older woman, I was Caitie's picking her.
We were done.
I was we could have just said stop. Go ahead, Caitie. We didn't need to even speak any more words because I knew that Caitie was going to.
Okay. What if it's who is that? Steven Spielberg's ex-wife who won the Oscar for Best Director? Is that a thing?
God.
Okay, but then she could direct him and then he could pivot to acting.
No, I don't like that.
And then he wins an Oscar.
No, she needs to be an actor.
She needs to be. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
What about an actress who's trying to pivot into directing?
It should be the mom of Sophie.
She should be a long-suffering manager at a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf on Santa Monica Boulevard. Should just be a total normie.
And she gave him a coffee and he said, "You have beautiful eyes." And then they boom. Tiana's "Get me to a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf."
Tiana's name has been entered into the record, and she is
in an unprecedented move. Tionah Lee is the only person to come here and win twice.
Yep.
Undefeated.
Once every year.
Wow.
She swings through it. In our first season, she was the only guest to ever win a pitch off. In our second season, I think now we're doing this too much. She's the fourth guest to win a pitch off. We're stopping this policy. We're too friendly. What are we doing?
Yeah.
No, but people that won, they really win. We have shut a lot of people out. People have thrown some fixes and we've been no, thank you. Let's try again later. And been now you pick. You wouldn't know about that, Tionah, because you've never had to do it. So.
Because you win every time your ass shows up here. That's why. Because you don't know.
Oh my God, this has been...
I'm not even as bitter about it as I sound. I think it's fantastic. I love that we've set a record. We've made podcast history today.
This has been an absolute whirlwind. Ladies, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I mean, basically, Tionah's going to have to come out and get her version of the Video Vanguard Award at the Fixies this year.
She's going to need an awards room in her basement like Barbara Streisand at this point.
Thank you both for being here. This was
Thank you.
Another level. Tionah, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and lurking on TikTok. Instagram at Hello is Tati, Twitter Olat's Tati.
Caitie, Hillary. Wait, it's Caitie. It's Catherine. No, it's not Catherine.
It's Caitlin.
It's Caitlin. Caitlin, Hillary, Amanda.
Uh-huh.
And then M is Margaret. No. Mary.
Melanie.
Oh, I didn't know it. Caitie, where can people find you?
No one needs to find me.
Okay. Dominick, where can people find you?
Well, I need everyone to look for me. So if you're looking for Caitie and she doesn't want to be found, go to domentary.com or at Dominick Pupa on Instagram. Christopher, where can the listeners of our whirlwind of a podcast find you on the internet?
You can find me at the DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People, and you can find the Patreon at patreon.com/Fixing Famous People. Come on over there and have a great time with us. Write us a review and let us know who you want us to fix next. I wish you all well. And as always, where's Shelly? Goodbye.